Welcome to the Cozy Craft Zone. I'm Haley Bell, your host, and let's get crafting. The first project we're working on today is a makeover of this really adorable galvanized bucket from the Dollar Tree. The first thing we're going to do is take off the twine. Now this twine is adhered pretty well, so you want to be careful as you're pulling the twine off that you don't rip it. I was very careful, and I was really worried that I was going to rip it at different places. So I would suggest going a little slow and taking your time. Next, we're going to be just using some sandpaper. I'm going to suggest really high grit sandpaper in this case because that glue is really rough. Now I'm going to be picking a piece of paper out of this pad that I have. I got that pad from Michael's last year when it was on the after Christmas sale. So I think it maybe was $5 for that entire pad. So you see now we're going to be taking the paper and gluing it to the outside of this bucket. Now I did use Mod Podge for the very first one, but I realized really quickly that it was going to take way too long if I used Mod Podge because you have to let it dry just a little bit before you move on to the next part. So next I used some adherence spray adhesive stuff. So funny story about this spray adhesive. I actually have had this adhesive for about 12 years. I used it for my wedding. Now, ladies who craft, you get it. You get that you get stuff and it sits in your closet and you don't realize that you have it for a really long time. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So I've had this glue for an extremely long period of time. And I have finally started using it again with all of my crafting. And I forgot how much I loved it. So I have this tendency when I craft to pull things really close to my chest, and I'm trying really hard to get out of that habit because I know it's not any fun to watch somebody half do something. So ladies, please help me with this one. Just a little patience while I learn this whole thing. So Christmas is one of my favorite times of year. I think it's the time of year that makes me feel the most like we are together and unified, and after the year that we have had, I feel like unity and coming together is something that really needs to happen. So I feel like crafting and being a part of this community is so awesome because of that. I've met some really incredible women through the crafting world, and it just makes me very happy that we can all enjoy making beautiful things together. So you guys see how much you get in this vinyl sheet. Now that vinyl sheet is from the Dollar Tree, believe it or not. They have a couple different designs. They have one that I haven't picked up yet, and I keep wanting to, and I keep forgetting to go get it. I hope it's not gone by the time I go get it, but it's Santa with a truck. This one is just adorable little penguins. So now we are putting the twine back on the bucket. Now this part does take a little bit of time, so I'm not going to bore you with a video of me putting the twine back on the bucket all the way, but know that this is going to take you probably 15 to 20 minutes to get that back on. If you're going slow and you're using probably way too much hot glue like I am. I'm always so paranoid that things are going to come off when I'm working on projects, so I always put way too much hot glue on, and I always put way too much Mod Podge on, and sometimes, honestly, it creates problems. So now I'm pulling off the cute little penguins, and because the vinyls are so big, they don't quite fit in the room that I had for them, so I'm cutting them all down. Unfortunately, my sad little penguins don't get any feet, but they are seriously adorable little Christmas penguins. And I feel like penguins are like a thing, but not as much as they were last year. Drop a note in the comments if you feel like penguins were a big thing last year and like where you guys saw them. Because I remember having tons of like little tins and coffee mugs and things like that that had penguins on them. And this year it's like all about the gnomes. The gnomes are where it's at this year. So now that I have the little penguins on it, I'm going to put a couple of cute little decal stickers, some snowflakes, and some presents. Now here, I had the little piece left over from, it's the negative space from the other present on the other side from the ribbon. So I took that and I made a little bow. It was a little tricky to get that on because the pieces were so small. They were difficult to adhere. So once you're done getting all those on, just Mod Podge over the top of them. You want them to stay in place and not go anywhere and be crazy. So I do, once again, hot gluing. Once again, like burning my fingers because I am incapable of putting hot glue on something without burning my fingers, I have learned. And here's the finished product. There's that little faux bow that I put on it. Alright, so this next project is a fun one. It is 2 Christmas trees pulled together from the Dollar Tree. These 2 Christmas trees are from the Dollar Tree. Actually, I think everything in this project is from the Dollar Tree today. We have a gold wire bucket and 2 fuzzy mop heads. Like I said, all of these things, including the little lights, I got from the Dollar Tree. So we're going to be creating a really beautiful little Christmas tree stand with the wire bucket and the mop heads. So I'm going to be adhering the mop heads with the hot glue, putting it directly onto the wire, and then pressing the mop head into place. And thankfully the mop heads are very thick, so I did not burn myself this time. So this was an interesting thing to do because I realized that they overlapped each other, and I didn't really want to cut down the mop head because I have learned that those mop heads actually will fray very easily. So I was worried about having it fray with little kids around, and if they messed with it, what that would happen to it. So I ended up not doing that and letting them overlap. So they do look a little, I guess you could say oblong. Kind of like a football slightly, but when it is standing up on my piano, you can't even tell. So I do have a couple of little pieces that are sticking out, so I do end up cutting those off because that is just really obnoxious to me. So I am putting hot glue on the inside just to help keep it nice and sturdy. I'm going to take those lights and also glue them on the inside. The battery pack is glued on the inside, and I'm going to string those lights around the Christmas tree. So one thing that I did not get video of, and I can't believe that I missed this part, is that I went outside and I spray painted these Christmas trees white with Rust-Oleum chalk paint. And here is the finished product. Got a little baby Jesus under there, but my son is extremely proud. He made what he calls the little hat on top and the little red ornament on the branch. So this project I think is my favorite. You take one package from the Dollar Tree. Those are those gift boxes. I had this piece of wood just laying around my house, and so I decided to use it as the back. And then these painter sticks, stirring sticks, from, I think I got them from Home Depot. They're cut to 19 inches long and 13 inches long. So I'm going to use a technique that I actually learned through people that craft. That was that you can take brown paint, like acrylic paint, and water it down, and it creates like this faux staining look, which is awesome. I have staining equipment, like I have the actual stain, but it just takes so long to dry, and I didn't want to deal with the messiness, so I just did it this way. So you can see it actually ends up coming out like very pretty when you do it this way. So I'm taking each of the painter's sticks and I am making the frame around the outside. I tried it a couple of different ways, creating the frame first and then putting the package out completely, like pulling it apart, and that didn't look as well as I wanted. So this is the way that I found actually worked the best. So I use E6000 and a little bit of hot glue for that short-term, long-term hold. glued those down on the sides. Now, the whole time that I'm doing this, I'm also checking to make sure that it is staying in the space that it's supposed to be, so that it's making that really nice frame around the picture. And like I said, this is just a regular gift box from the Dollar Tree. So like one of those ones that you would put a really nice shirt in for your men in your life. So you continue with that, and you want to hold these down until they are adhered pretty well. So here I am, I'm talking to my husband, and I'm just leaning forward on my elbows. This board was a little bit warped, so I actually had to make it a little like intense with the E6000. So then I'm going to E6000 the outside of the box, and then some hot glue and in the middle as well, so that it's all adhered down, and really quickly put it back down in the middle. So you can see how doing it that way, where you put the frame on, actually works really well. So now I am using my staple gun, and I'm using brad nails, the nails that staple guns can kind of push into the wood, around the outside for the frame. I'm constantly checking to make sure that it's A, not going all the way through, and B, that it is doing what it needs to. It's actually like getting everything nice and firm. So the warping aspect of this project with this piece of wood was not as big of a problem after I got the frame on and used the brad nails to straighten it out a little bit. Now we're just using some regular little hooks that you can get at the Home Depot. I think they were $1.98 for a set of 3 of these little art hang things. And here's the finished product. I can't even tell you guys, I was so tickled when I finished these. They made me so incredibly happy to see them. They are going to go on my stairs going downstairs. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you found any real enjoyment out of this, please drop me a like, comment, and please, of course, always subscribe to the channel for fun tutorials, DIYs, and to see some really cool crafts. We'll talk to you guys next week. Bye!